All right, with this problem, we have a company that has a long-term asset, furniture, and they're selling it, and we're asked to figure out whether or not they sold it at a gain or a loss. The This is a very formulaic way problem to solve, so let's just go through the steps. Now, this particular example tells us that the accumulated depreciation is up to date. So, a more complex type of a problem, we would have to go and determine how much depreciation needs to be recorded up to the day we made the sale. And that's because we have to have our accounts, these accounts need to be removed from our books. And so we have to have the balances up to date. So we have furniture, and we have accumulated depreciation for furniture. Well, it tells us the furniture cost was $31,500. That's a debit, and that's the balance of furniture. It tells us accumulated depreciation, which of course has a normal credit balance, is up to date at $29,300. So if that hadn't been up to date, we would have to record depreciation expense to get that up to date. And then we sold it for $4,800 cash. Okay, so if we sold this furniture, then it's gone, and we have to get it off our books. So we're just going to do the opposite here and make these zero. So I'm going to debit accumulated depreciation for $29,300. And of course, once I debit that, right, I post that, the balance goes to zero. I'm going to credit furniture for $31,500. Once I credit that account, that goes to zero. So these are now gone. The other piece of information I'm given is we sold the furniture for cash. So we received cash. So I'm going to debit cash for $4,800. Now, this journal entry is not in balance, and we need to figure out how to make it in balance. So the debit side is greater than the credit side. So I know I'm missing a credit. Gains are credits just like revenue, right? Gains increase net income, revenue increase net income. They both have normal credit balances. So because this needs a credit, I know that's a gain. Losses are like expenses. If this needed a debit, it would be a loss because it's like an expense. And then to make that balance right, I add up my debits, I subtract my credits, and what I really need is $2,600 for the gain, and that journal entry is now in balance. There's one other way that this could have been solved, maybe even an easier way, but I wanted to show you the journal entry. Is that a gain is when our fair market value is greater than our book value, and a loss is when our fair market value is less than our book value. Well, in this case, what's our book value? The book value is the difference between the furniture and the accumulated depreciation. So $31,500 minus $29,300 is $2,200. The fair market value is what we sold it for, right? So in this case, we know it's not a loss because the fair market value isn't less than the book value, so that's not right. In this case, the fair market value is greater than the book value. So we know we have a gain, and the amount of the gain is the difference between the two. So 48 minus 22 is 2,600.